I didn't plan this, I promise. So the college football playoff comes out, right? For me, my first reaction as someone who is just involved on a very high level with the Big 12, BYU got snubbed. And not only you can live, there's a world where it's like, okay, I understand how they didn't get in. I do. If you want another example of just how much of a class act this school is, Brian Santiago, Kalane Sitake, all their players. I mean, of course, the fan base is upset this morning and was upset yesterday afternoon, and rightfully so, because my biggest issue, and this is where the Notre Dame thing, I'm not happy. Oh, I'm happy Notre Dame didn't get in. I didn't think Notre Dame deserved to get into this college football playoff because of the merits of their performance on the field this season. You had two big games early. You lost them both. End of story. On the goddamn football field. Excuse my language. But so that's it. You lost. The rest of your schedule sucked on fire, dude. Awful schedule. Like 43rd, 42nd in the entire country. Your statement win was against Pitt on the road. Woo! Like, give me a break, dude. Like, you're not going to be able to contend or go toe-to-toe with an Alabama whose biggest win was against Georgia. Yeah, they had a bad loss early in the season, but so did you. You had two of them. So the Notre Dame outcry, I again, and I'm not like, I do appreciate Notre Dame, what they bring to college football. They're one of the hallmarks of the sport, right? One of the blue chip, blue blood programs in all of sports, right? But at the end of the day, if you don't qualify, you don't qualify. You flat out weren't good enough. And don't give me that rubbish that, oh, the committee got our hopes up. We were so excited, right? Every week they had us in. Tough shit. You didn't beat Miami on the field. So they got in and you did it. That's it. I am crazy with the Notre Dame stuff. If you want to get into the college football playoff, then beat somebody that's good. Really. Like, that's it. There is no argument. There's no debate. And the fact that, honestly, the committee, in my mind, sort of slipped up. Yeah, they can fall back on, well, once BYU lost that game, right? When BYU lost the second time to Texas Tech, now they slip out, right? They are now going to 13, which puts Notre Dame and Miami back to back, which then at that point, I guess, we're going to pass the idiot test and go back to, yeah, that's right. When they played on the field, Miami was better. Like, and I don't want to hear, oh, it was earlier in the season. It was this year, dude. Like, this is how we break this stuff down. It's about what happens on the field. I appreciate analytics and stats and all that stuff, but it can't be second to what transpires on the gridiron. It's moronic. And we're going to go to BYU's resume in a second, which kicks Notre Dame's ass over tea kettle. I almost dropped another GD. It really does. But did you hear, like, BYU, and fans are allowed to fan all they want, right? I totally respect it. Cliche, fans another name for fanatic, and it is. We hear it all the time, but it's true, and it's very true in cases like this. So BYU fans, knock yourself out. Go crazy. But you don't hear a whole lot from the university today. BYU is going to play in their bowl game. Notre Dame is not. And that's all you need to know about Notre Dame. This program that stands on this mountain, right? So pious, so pious, so pious. You know, touchdown Jesus. We're all about commitment and good people and ba. I can guarantee you, and I know this from having friends who are, you know, again, I didn't invent football. I call a bunch of games. I call a bunch of college basketball games. I end up in rooms with people who know all this stuff, right? Guys who have played the sport, guys who have coached the sport, guys who know people on committees. And when Florida State last year in the 2023 season, I'm parched already. By the way, I didn't see this happening. When Notre Dame, I'm sorry, when Florida State was left out of the college football playoff, okay, that 14 playoff in 2023, and they went to the Orange Bowl and got annihilated, right? A lot of the alums and donors and powers that be in high places at Notre Dame were really upset about that. Really upset, pissed at Billy Napier, upset about the fact, like, why would he let that happen, right? Why would he go to that bowl game? Okay. He should have taken a stand. And to me, that logged something in my brain, like, oh, that's interesting. Like, it wasn't about the players at all. And the players all really defected from Florida State. So maybe that is a reason why they shouldn't have played, right? Maybe they knew more as to what was going on at the time, right? Inside the facility, and maybe the powers that be did. Maybe they knew more, whatever. But I know this for a fact. I've talked to powerful people affiliated with that football program who were very pissed that game was played and resented the coaching staff after that, right? And so when you have a situation and an opportunity for Notre Dame to quite possibly do the same thing, right? Go play a bowl game after getting snubbed. And by the way, we're talking two totally different situations. Florida State really had a hill to die on there. Their quarterback got hurt, so they got bounced, right? I mean, we have no idea how they would have done in that tournament or in that playoff, 4 teams, if they had gone and advanced. That loss, that shellacking in the Orange Bowl to Georgia, is not indicative of who that team was. So we'll really never know. Notre Dame, totally different story. Your schedule sucks. You lost your 2 big games, and you have a bowl game, an opportunity for your team to play, right? You experience, first of all, another thing that I don't know, like, and being a former college football player, I never played a snap. I got a scholarship. They kept my scholarship. I had a heart problem. I don't want to get that out there. I don't want to pretend like I was out there like Lawrence Taylor, but I was at every game and every practice and worked with the team. Look, there's a picture right there. Okay. You don't believe me? They did march me out for media days, and they told me there was a chance I was going to play my first 2 years, which was tough because they knew I wasn't going to play. That resentment, I'll handle that on my time. These ones we're airing out together. Okay. You have an opportunity for like 15, 20 more practices as a team together. If you're Notre Dame, there's a lot of guys on that roster who will never play football again, right? And they thought they had one more game coming. And I can promise you that's one of those deals where you get in the room, and whether it's peer pressure from the coaches, I mean, maybe they voted. I don't know. I don't know what went on there. I just know that it sets a bad example for the rest of college football. If you want to be on this mountaintop and you want to be Notre Dame, like, keep your character alive. Have character, have commitment. Like, honestly, like BYU. We haven't heard, like, and that's one thing. And this is where this process becomes a freaking joke, okay? Because I'm in my hotel room after Kansas State got their asses kicked by Seton Hall, by the way, on Saturday, the game that I called. That's a problem for Drew and Tank, but that's another thing. So I'm in Manhattan, Kansas, watching these college football conference tournament or conference championship games. And I got, what's his face? Diaz, right? Manny Diaz is telling me why Duke should be in the college football playoff. Like, dude, save it, bro. Enjoy your championship. It was amazing. What you guys did was special, right? That's it. Like, just move on. Don't tell me that Duke belongs in the college football playoff, right? Not the way that things are aligned. Now, look, and this is a major problem, right? Like, there is a lot of stuff that needs to be improved. There's no question about it. Like, but the system is the system. You guys knew the rules going in. So let's not act surprised. Like Notre Dame, they have somehow, right, like stacked the deck. So now going forward for the next 5 or 6 years, this is the truth now. Hand to God, no touchdown Jesus pun or anything. And by the way, no knock on religion. I'm a big God Squad guy over here. But Notre Dame just drives me nuts about how they're so, and I grew up Catholic, still am Catholic. But I should practice a little more, Mom, if you're watching. I need to get to church more, and I want to. But I haven't, so that's on me. But I get this. You know the parameters, right? So the moment you don't get in, that's it. It's over. You didn't get in. Like, stop the crybaby stuff. Don't not go to a bowl. And I again, the Florida State thing is very real. I have a very good like sources around that, and they were pissed that Florida State played on. I really believe that was on high. Like, you're not going to this bowl game, right? Like, we're not doing this. And then the SHIT rolls downhill, and the players are told like, hey, if we played, we should, whatever. So they ripped away an opportunity for the student athlete to get better and to have more experiences, right, that were supposed to be part of their college experience. Thanks a lot, Notre Dame. Like, yeah, you guys rock. You guys are the best. All right, let's pull up the resumes now real quick. This was the BYU argument, and man, it is a good one. You want to go crazy, Cougar fans? Look at that. I saw that yesterday. I had to make sure it wasn't like some bogus AI, or I had to source it up. This is very real. Look at that. So Notre Dame strength of schedule 44, okay? Miami 45, BYU 22. Strength of record, BYU 9, Notre Dame 13, Miami 14. So why isn't BYU in? I don't have an answer for you. I don't have an answer for you. But short of, and I'm not far. I mean, I could hop in a car, and the moment my plane landed yesterday back in DFW, I could have run over to Grapevine and broken the doors down and held everybody hostage until somebody said, okay, BYU is going to make it into the college football playoff. But short of that, there's nothing anybody can do, which is why I exercise my little bit of sanity. And when I see BYU doesn't get in, I say, man, that sucks. Turn the page. What bowl game are they going to be in? Right? I mean, the crying and the politicking and all that stuff feels way too much like politics, which is why when I see guys who I respect, like Manny Diaz, pounding his chest saying, we deserve to be in the college football playoff, and I know he doesn't, right? Like, tough shit, dude. You're not in. Like, don't tell me that the sky is purple, right? It's blue, Manny, right? And so a lot of that, even like after Sark, even after they won, when Sark beat A&M, like he's saying like this is a team. And I get that to a degree, but at some point it's like, put down the sword, dude. Go do your job. Like, stop blowing smoke up our rear ends. Like, it's enough already. Like, good for Kalani Sitake, truthfully, and Brian Santiago. Like, I just don't know what good comes from all of the hand-wringing. I just don't know. Like, control what you can control. Go back out there and kick ass next year and win the two. Like, dude, the Notre Dame thing is really mind-numbing. And it shows that, like, look, okay, here's a great example. I finished watching the Puff Daddy drama. It felt like, by the way, that story is like, I can't even believe it. So Netflix, right? The documentary series. This guy, Puff Daddy, was, I mean, you want to talk about completely off the reservation for like probably the last 4 or 5 years of his life before he went to jail, ultimately prison, right? And he was surrounded by all these guys who were like, yeah, Puff, get him. Tell him, Puff, you're getting screwed. And he is like not in a good mental state. He's sick on alcohol and drugs and whatever else he's believing. And there's nobody around him being like, yo, Puff, like, you need to chill. Like, this ain't going well for you. Like, I mean, yes men everywhere. Like, I feel like that's the same thing that goes on in some of these bubbles, right? Some of these echo chambers around college football. It's like the same issues we have with people in society who find their group online, right? Whether it's a group of, who knows? I don't even want to say like some dark term, but like you get what I'm saying. And they all go over there, right? And they all talk to one another and they get all riled up, right? And they're just talking to one another. And then they go out into the rest of the world like rabid, bloodthirsty dogs on a mission to nowhere. And that's what we're seeing now this morning with Notre Dame. All right, so the tournament as it stands. Whew, I'm riled up. Okay. And we're going to talk about TV too. We got macros. We don't have macros. I can promise you that. We got Mac Engel coming up here at 10:30.